What is up, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings? Why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings? Why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
Stated earlier in the previous press release or press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but we still believe that. But we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Let me just take you back to Sunday morning about 1:45. At that time, all four victims are back in this house. Now, there are two entrances to this home. One through that front door that has a coded lock. We've learned that at times that coded lock would be left off because a lot of people would come to this location for parties. And then there's a sliding back door. And Lawrence, there were two individuals in this home that was left untouched. Somebody, the next day, around 9 hours after this incident was supposed to have taken place, called law enforcement. When law enforcement got here, they found that the door was unlocked. There was no forced entry. But, Lawrence, I can further tell you, at some stage, there was an autopsy performed. The medical examiner said that there was blood all over this place, all on the walls, on the floors. It was a very vicious attack, and the weapon that the medical examiner said was a knife.
The names of the 4 University of Idaho students killed at an off-campus home over the weekend. Moscow police say 20-year-old Ethan Chapin of Conway, Washington, 21-year-old Madison Mogan of Coeur d'Alene, 20-year-old Xana Kernodle of Avondale, Arizona, and 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves of Rathdrum, Idaho, were found dead yesterday around noon local time in Moscow. Moscow police said the 4 found are homicide victims. The University of Idaho has canceled classes today out of respect for the students.
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We intend to come out and solicit information from the public if they are within certain areas that we believe are of interest for this investigation.
Why you believe they are targeted killings, and do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We intend to come out and solicit information.
All right, guys, welcome back. Truth and Transparency. First guest, what's up? Life in the Red, Kim, can you hear me? You may be muted, I don't know. And you're in, let me see.
Yes, I did mute because Crafton was talking. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, this was a weird day for this, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we were expecting the preliminary hearing, so
Yeah.
secrecy grand jury. I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, how have you been?
I've been okay. I mean, same old, stuff, but
Same old stuff,
doing same old stuff,
just a different day.
different day. Yeah. Aiden's home though from college, so I'm like, at least my boy's home, so that's good.
Oh, for like summer break?
Yeah. He's going he's going to be like an RA, so he'll be gone Monday through Friday for a few weeks there. But otherwise, like, yes, it's nice having him home.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. Get ready to feed for more. Get ready for your closets to be raided.
Mm-hmm. Yes. His girlfriend's coming to stay with us next weekend. He went there this past weekend, so fun times.
Gotcha.
Hey, Truth Wings.
Yes. What is
So,
up,
what'd you
guys?
think? What'd you think of today, though? It's a little interesting, different stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I have my notes here and everything. I mean, what I think of today, first of all, I mean, I just really think the judge needs to get the names right. That stuck out a little to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called one of them something else. What was it?
Yeah,
Zaina?
he called Kayla.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he totally botched. I mean, Xana's name, Zaina.
Zaina.
That's what I
Zaina,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a little disrespectful.
I mean, you could also look at it this way: like, does he really not have a clue about the case? Then you're getting a very, not unbiased judge, I guess. That he wouldn't know how to say the names. I mean, I don't know if the one camera in there made it hard to focus, but I would just be focused on my job and the victims but yeah.
Well, you'd hope he'd have enough like information by now, though, to at least have the names right.
Yeah,
doesn't instill a lot of faith.
It's been around for a while now,
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I took away with it, just because it was, I think, just so like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
Then I took away from it, Bryan, and Taylor basically saying, we're going to be silent, and not, make the judge say, not guilty.
Yeah.
I think that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the gag order, with the media being able to replay over and over, like just the bits, they're going to have to replay that portion of it.
I didn't think of that. See, I was concerned maybe he's thinking of taking a plea.
Oh, I know. I think that was, with this gag order in place, they made the judge say, not guilty. And so to hear it from like a judge hearing the not guilty, the media,
there's less chance.
The media is just going to have to play that.
That's true. The new, there's not a lot. You don't see it very often where the defendant refuses to speak up for themselves. But I hadn't thought of the media aspect of it, and that is true because now they don't have clips to run.
Yeah, they're not going to have that. But also, I also think it's a statement of like everything that has happened up to this point. I think that they have some serious issues with what has happened. So they're also, not speaking because of that as well. So it's like, we totally, we're just disappointed with the way things have been going on. So I think it's both. I'm just curious when it came about, who talked about it, how'd that get brought up to say, hey, when you're going to plea, you're not going to speak. We're going to make the judge, say it for you. So did that, where did that come from? Was it was that Bryan's idea? Was it Ann's idea? Was it both of their ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strategy but your idea is also completely valid, right? And that could actually be because of the gag order and, you know, the thoughts around it. It could have definitely just been a statement. There are cases where this has happened, but it was generally to try to plead down the death penalty off the table. And that way, because it maintains the defendant's position, right, where they want it to continue. They want to keep going in the process, but they don't want the judge to bring up the fact that they lied. It's like good faith to the judge. So like Nicholas Cruz's case was a good example of that. But I think it could just look at how many times we have seen what little footage there is out there of Bryan Kohberger. So I can see that though too, where it's just like, no, we're not going to hand them another clip to play in perpetuity. If the trial goes on in October, you know, that's got some time between there. So that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that prospective jurors won't be subject to seeing that. Yeah.
Did you see the second part? Everything that they were going to be talking about with like the media and stuff. Like we played that earlier. Basically, like, hey, I think everybody wants to talk about the First Amendment, but nobody wants to talk about the Sixth Amendment. And so the judge actually like made some really good points about, you know, how can we make sure that somebody's going to get a fair trial.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why
I didn't get to catch you earlier today.
Okay.
But
yeah.
What did you have to say about
you said the last time you saw that happen was with
Nicholas Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up playing, but he's kind of jockeying for getting the death penalty off the table. You know, and it worked out in his favor, but he also went, you know, the grand jury route, you know. So I think, and then the grand jury thing, I think that had more to do with just the state wanting to move it full steam. What do you think about October? I don't know how they're going to do anything in October. I think that's ambitious.
Well, I think that they've been busting their ass to this point. I'm interested to know when she asked for, we want to go to the very last possible day, you know, to where the speedy trial would be. Like, that's what we're asking for. Yeah. And they did it, I thought, in a strategic way to be like, we didn't waive our right to a speedy trial. So I thought that was, you know, important. And we just want to go right at, you know, the cusp of when it would be the end of that. I think if I was innocent, I would want a speedy trial.
Right. Yeah.
I know that I wouldn't want to be sitting somewhere if I did something that I didn't do, you know. I think that everybody's, and likewise with me, how are you handing over 5.2 terabytes of data, or, you know, whatever it is that you're handing over? I think that's an excess data dump. So I'm curious to see how that, you know, what's up with that. Because when she asked for stuff, hey, well, I don't have this. And they're like, well, we gave it to you.
Right.
Buried. You gave me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So is it just
I'm trying to get through all of that for October. I don't know. I was surprised. Like, but they have I feel like they have a strategy.
I do.
They're doing
I do too.
It's very strategic. I can't get it in my head yet what they're going for.
I mean,
as time goes on, maybe we'll, you know.
I think
it's a lot to process in one day, because there was a couple things that were unexpected. So
yeah. I think that I would want the speedy trial. I think that you would. It almost would look the opposite way to me if you didn't want your speedy trial. If you're innocent and you want to exonerate yourself, how do you go from saying I want to exonerate myself to, okay, let's just, you know, spread this all the way out? But
well, it's such a high profile case too, that it's like the more time that's there, the more media buildup there is, especially kind of in this silo with gag orders in place and things like that. So I think it's like, that's less time for like, ID discovery to be making up their stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's less fanfare and things like that. But it's definitely like, if you're innocent, you don't want to be sitting there. So that could very well be the logic too.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of information though to go through. I mean, that's quick. It is quick. But then he's been sitting there. I know exactly. I know when he got arrested, you guys, he crashed my honeymoon. Okay. We were in the Poconos the day. It's like, God, we're trying to stay away from you.
That's right. That's right. You guys were over there, weren't you?
Yes. It was like, we're forever entwined with this case now.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think that he was arrested at the end of December. So they've been working on things for, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I mean, O.J. Simpson went to trial that quick. I get it, though. He had a dream team. His trial was just, what was it? I think it was longer than it was that, he waited in jail, right? How long was it? 9 months?
Yeah. Well, that trial was like
huge
too. Yeah. I think, what were they saying? They're going to set aside five weeks?
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. So you're looking at, they were talking about October 2nd. They were going back to October 2nd or October 22nd.
Yeah.
At first, the judge wanted like November, at the end of November. And then he's like, okay, well, either October 22nd or October 2nd. So,
that'll come quick. That'll be here quick.
Oh yeah, they already set some dates out. I'm actually going to be posting those. I have a question for you. Okay, so they arrested Bryan Kohberger with a PCA that had the DNA in it from the sheath, the touch DNA. And now, back and forth when they were motioning, they were like, okay, well, we're not going to use that. We're not going to use the sheath. Have you ever seen something like that? And what would be your opinion as to why they would say that?
I think it wasn't going to be allowed in. I think there's probably some procedural problems in how they obtained it. That's just my opinion.
Okay. And then
because we're getting ready to fight over it, weren't they?
Well, it was she wanted the information of it. She wanted the, they didn't turn over anything like, any of the testing and how you did it. It just everything to do with the sheath.
And now they're not going to use that. Well, that leads to a whole different thought process, though, because I knew there was some debate over it. Okay, so they never even turned it over then to his team?
Correct. Because they motioned to say that they're not going to use it. And my question, though, is
Yikes.
Do you still have to turn that over to them if they want it?
No. Well, yes. Okay, well, here, that's multifaceted, okay? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that had this thought, okay? And you guys talk about this, on a daily basis. So you probably all knew that already. I didn't realize that they had asked for it and hadn't been given it. That leads to a different thought process, doesn't it? It's like, okay, so what'd you find on it?
Yeah. Also, my thought process is
and if it's any sort of exonerating information, then they better turn it over, whether they're going to use it or not. I mean, it doesn't matter now if they're not going to use it. If the state has tested something and it came back with any information that could lead to anything different than who they have in custody, they have to turn that over.
Okay. So, Andy, I understand that they're just talking about they're not going to use the genealogical DNA. I understand that. My thing, though, is that that's what they used to arrest him. Without that on the PCA, how do you get to arrest Bryan? That was a big part of why the judge signed off. So because of that DNA. Okay. So, and you waited to the point of that you got a piece of trash. I would love to hear this custody, this chain, how this got back over the lab and done and how that all happened. But all within like 24 hours.
I don't think that it would. So decisions, whether to use it at trial, I don't think it would change anything, though, in terms of them citing it then. Maybe they're not, it could be something just controversial with it or time constraint wise. I mean, so for instance, we talked about OJ's case. So if they're not going to use parts of the DNA, or the genealogical DNA, maybe that's for the sake of brevity. Or I don't know. They have other information now though too, so they might just be ready to rely on other pieces of evidence, or there's different ways it could go. What do you think?
Well, my question is that if that's what you needed in order to arrest him, right? Don't we have to then, this is what you use to arrest him. If you don't have that, then you wouldn't have been able to arrest him. So like, that's my thought. Like, so how does that all work with, if there was, let's say, what if it doesn't have the father's, what if the DNA isn't actually a match?
Then they'd have other issues. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I get what you're saying, because there's a catch-22 in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
If for some reason it's invalid, I still don't think it would be invalidated, and here's why. Because the sheath itself was in his possession, and they are looking for, there's enough there where I it's just so rare. So it doesn't mean it's right. I just want to make that clear. It doesn't mean it's right, but it's so rare that, so go back to OJ, right? Mm-hmm. Even in the wake of thoughts that Mark Furman might have planted a glove, mm-hmm. there's nothing they could do about. Now they argued it at trial. It can be a point of contention at trial, but they won't go back. It's so rare you see a court take any action to invalidate.
Yeah, but they're going to be able to talk about that at trial.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to talk about right now, is that if people think that that everything to do with the sheath is just going to walk out the door and no one's ever going to bring this up again, I think they have another thing coming.
Oh, no. If his lawyer is worth her, and she seemed, like I said, everything seemed like it was based in strategy today.
Oh yeah, she's really good.
So there's no way that that's not going to come in. They might have to do a little, procedural jockeying around it, but there's no way that she's not going to ask questions about that. And that's going to be up to the jury. It's interesting because it looks bad. It does look bad on the state.
Yeah, because that's what got you to be able to arrest this guy. You know what I mean?
Well, and in the wake of the gag order, it's like that's one of the major and first things that went out. So that's more of the kind of common knowledge around the case, pieces of evidence, and now it just goes away. There's been
that's the part I want to ask. Somebody to say, hey, can we just back up for a second? Let me ask you this. Wait, isn't the whole reason you as a police officer wanted to arrest this man is because of the testing that came back and it tested, and oh my gosh, it is.
That's the reason. Is that the reason they gave for the delay?
That's the reason that the judge signed off on arresting him, is because of that DNA that was found in that sheath, because that's the only place that they use it. They use 3 different forms of the PCA. They used a different form for Washington, a different form from Pennsylvania, and that was all for search warrants for his apartment and then his car and then his person. But to actually arrest him, Idaho was handed a different PCA, and in the end of that PCA, it had the touch DNA, and that's what was used in that PCA, and that is what I believe was the ceiling point for Megan to sign off on the arrest of Bryan. Because
it's been a while since I saw the document, because I do remember that it was lean. Okay, so there weren't a bunch of points.
Everything, it was very, very circumstantial. But that's right there. That was like the piece that.
And I think I've looked too at the list of items retrieved, from his car and things like that. And there were some interesting little things in there, but nothing that they ever have clarified since on if it contained anything of value. But it's interesting. She's going to use it at trial. She has to.
Yeah,
whatever happened to that. This is, and I think so. This one actually makes me think of, like Stephen Avery's case, where it's like you go in and think about those jurors who suddenly hear nothing about Brendan Dassey and his confession. You know what I mean? So they'll take back these evidence pieces sometimes when they just don't bode well, but you have jurors that no doubt are expecting to hear something, and any defense attorney is going to bring that up. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like, then all of a sudden, like now you don't want to, like, that's your physical evidence right now. So when I heard like Scott Roeder, because me and him will go back and forth about things, he's like, the evidence is just so overwhelming. I don't understand where that's coming from, because everything is circumstantial. The overwhelming to me would be blood in his car, like, you know, the blood of the victims in the car, blood in the apartment. But
it's like why be so nosy said though too, like they sat and watched him clean his car.
Well, I would love to know when that happened. So you're saying that he didn't clean his car for all the way up until he was in Pennsylvania? Like, it's just
right,
just wild to me. And then it's like you see his car in a couple different clips, and the inside of that car is, you know, before the murders it was meticulous. That's just who he is. So I just hear, I'm like, oh, what's overwhelming here? Because that's what I think the media's problem is right now, is that everybody thinks there's like this overwhelming evidence. But right now you have circumstantial evidence.
Yes,
you have circumstantial evidence. And
well, there's a lot of taking what little is in the media's word for it too. And it reminds me a little of Scott Peterson, right? Where it's like, okay, so there was all kinds of evidence that was supposedly out there that when the time came, it wasn't evidence. It wasn't there, you know? So it's taking back the sheath is crazy to me. That's where it's like, but I don't know that it's going to make a difference. I don't think it'll procedurally make a difference. I'd have to see, but I'm saying if law enforcement has
document.
Yeah, if law enforcement has one other thing on there that they can, you know, because now it's about, okay, so was this the deciding factor?
Pingings.
Yeah, I mean, anything. If there's one other thing they can point to, they can be like, oh, well, this thing didn't pan out, or we're not using it for trial, but we had all these other things, you know? And it's just, you never see a judge go back on another judge. It's just so
I don't
rare.
think anything's going to go back on that. I just think it should be so telling to people that, wait, am I reading this right? Why aren't you wanting to use evidence that you use to arrest somebody? Why are you saying that you're not going to use that? That just makes it a huge piece of the evidence.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wanted to hear what you had to say. You think they're going to go for the death penalty? They have 60 days.
Yeah. Yes. Unless there's some deal that's being worked out to not, I think yes, because it's a huge case. Yeah. But I'm interested to see what happens from here. You know what I mean? I can't imagine. I can't imagine him playing. But that's to me what it feels like it's being set.
Yeah, he's not playing.
But I can't picture that, you know. So it is a little baffling. It's going to be super interesting. Excited.
What did you think of the Dateline thing, Lana?
Yeah, did you see it? I didn't see all of it.
Well, there's like 6 mistakes in there that flat are not true. They say that his phone pinged in the area during the murders. His phone was off. I mean, unless now we're gonna have a huge discrepancy on but they said his phone was off, so it couldn't have pinged anywhere during the murders by the house. At the house, it's just not possible. Then they said, Dateline they have mistakes. They have factual things that are wrong. And I was just shocked that they had the TikTok redhead on there.
Mm-hmm. The more I watched it, the less I was like, now I'm starting to starting to ease over to the other side of the fence with this, because it sounded like a post-mortem to a trial. It sounded like the whole thing was over. And, and then I think every informant's name was sources, right?
Yeah.
So how many moms named their child sources lately? And it was just, I was like, hey, this is getting really Scott Peterson-y. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Very bad.
Well, that's the thing too, when they try to
in my opinion,
when they try to lock out the ability to have conversations out in the public and among, the media.
Yeah.
We are on a 24-hour news cycle now. So the media will come up with shit to talk about. So if they have this much information, then they're going to talk about that much information. They're going to have talking heads coming in, and it doesn't quelch down anything that gets discussed. You know what I mean? It just becomes morphed and morphed and morphed. I'm like, how many times do we have to, I remember when, for instance, you have the building up here, when they decided they're going to, that got transferred and all this other, like that was the news for like 4 days straight. Because people are eager to hear something.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was
that's a whole separate thing, I guess. But I'm like, the whole gag order thing, I think, is kind of ridiculous too. I don't know how you feel about it, but
well, I feel like he's what's going on with people not believing, like everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and there is not one mainstream media out there like at all, like they mention those words, but they don't really truly like advocate for that. And that's just whatever, like, guys, it is what it is. Like, we live in the United States of America. You are innocent until proven guilty, and nobody wants to talk about that to the point of that you're actually defending that stance. And it's like he's already guilty, and that's just I think just awful. And that's the whole point of like the media. That's the whole point of the gag order, is to prevent this. But then you have people coming out with, like you said, like that redhead that was on that TikTok. Why didn't you just go and ask, like, why are you using her TikTok to put that out there? Do you even know if she went on a date with Bryan?
Is this the one that's like in love with him or whatever, like writing him for?
No, they went on some Tinder date or something like that. Like, give me a fucking break.
There's some other one too, though, that's out in social media claiming she's like his prison girlfriend. No, there is. I'm like, here it begins, Yeah.
Well, that guy, supposedly, he's an expert at something, because they reminded us every other sentence, this guy's an expert, right? And expert at something, forensic something, right? And, he installed those cameras to set it up so that that's what I mean. Had her Wi-Fi password.
They're speculating.
And then
hugely.
And they're going, wow, why didn't he
just have the girl on?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Why couldn't they get the girl? The girl didn't agree to go on there?
No, I think they're trying to sell the damn Peacock app. They want everybody to do Peacock Premium. Find out what this expert is actually an expert in.
Well, that's what I mean, though. They like fill it in. In the absence of information, they make shit happen. Okay.
I just it was disappointing, because I mean, I love Dateline, and I just felt that it was so different from every other episode that you watch from Dateline.
Yeah.
This guy knew the dude that went to second grade with him, and he has sources that say that, that was the worst.
Well, I saw something where they were bringing up like the chick didn't find anything missing, but like her suitcase had been taken out of her car.
That happened 4 months before we ever got there.
And somehow they've worked this in, and it must have been like Court TV.
Because
I think it was Vinny over on Court TV is talking about, if that's connected. I mean, we know that he was at least thinking, there's no, proof there's no proof that he wasn't there. It's like panties in a cup holder. I'm like, this doesn't seem like anything.
So can I ask you a serious question? Because you studied this in law school. So this is like one of those, when did you stop beating your wife type questions. I mean, they're just going with,
it wasn't even there, though. That's the thing, is that happened in March of 2022. That was 4 months before he was ever in that area. So why would that even be on Dateline? Because I think that actually helps the case of it not being Bryan, because how many weirdos
changed my mind.
That could be because there's some weirdo running around there anyway, like sniffing panties and shoving them in cup holders, right there. I cannot believe that Dateline even put that on there. Like, and that's what I mean. And then suddenly
I'd be pissed. I'd be like, and then suddenly you're making our school look like a bunch of pervs.
Well, right. This isn't a good. I wonder if that's going to be affected, like their enrollment and stuff. I'd be worried, I guess, if my son was going there. But yeah, the fact that little piece somehow made it to where it's like suddenly you've got Court TV like doing a whole segment on it to analyze that piece of new information. I don't know. It's sad.
It just blows my mind that, like, I mean, Dateline put that in there knowing that, okay, this happened in March. He lives in Pennsylvania. Okay. Mm-hmm. This happens in March. He doesn't get there until June, possibly July, depending on exactly the date when he would have gotten there. I don't even think he could move in technically until like July 2nd. But so why did you put that in there? Because people that watch something half-assed, they think that he did that because they were so nonchalant about when that actually happened.
Yes.
That did not happen. Like, no. Hello, let me tell you something. No, you have a bunch of frat guys that are immature doing that shit, just like they were doing and putting, carcasses and stuff like that on people's porches and stuff like that after they were skinning animals. They were killing, they were leaving. It was gross. But who goes in somebody's car, doesn't steal anything, and removes your panties and puts them in your cup holder? An immature boy, okay,
and puts checks the luggage, your luggage. I mean,
just fucking so stupid.
Yeah.
And then I'm saying that that's him.
Yeah, a prank for instance. Yeah, because they have fraternities there, wasn't it? I think it was a frat or a sorority house.
Somebody out there is seriously, they watch Dateline and they're laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
Like the Sigma Chi house
is
cracking up. Like, oh my God. We totally were messing with Jan and now look at this.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, they're high-fiving and they started doing shots immediately.
Those were Jan's underwear that night,
They downloaded the episode and are looping that part over and over while they take shots every time they show the.
Do you think they got approval from the girl? They didn't even blur her face out. You think they had to ask her?
True. Oh, that's true.
She's probably the one that emailed them. Oh,
well,
hey, guess what?
But it was body cam footage, so I mean, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, it's still kind of like, questionably.
He tried to kill me too
on an ethical level.
I wonder. No, I don't want you putting that on Dateline. You're not gonna me talking about my panties on Dateline.
In a door holder. No, which was it? Initially, and that was another fail. He goes panties in a cup, and then when they're showing the body cam thing, she says it was in the door handle. Yeah. I thought it was in a cup. I thought it was in a cup holder.
She did.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but there's just so many things that were not mentioned. The one thing that I think that that didn't get mentioned, if you want to talk about all the weird stuff that was going on, why aren't we talking about Brent Kopaka being shot the day that Bryan left or the day after Bryan left with his dad over at the coffee house apartments? That was the same type of like a roommate type of like hostage situation where roommates could have possibly been killed, but then here this guy ends up getting shot by the police. I mean, that happens just weeks after this. But wait. This totally doesn't have anything to do with the other thing. And I want to know, how do you know that? How do you know that so quickly that you can just like the next day come out and say those two have nothing to do with the other? I get that you can get there eventually, but I just would think that,
Well, yeah. Didn't they make a bunch of statements though that were kind of questionable? Like, how do you know that yet?
Yeah. I mean, how are you not going to talk about the 911 call being, 9 hours after allegedly you have an eyewitness seeing the person at the house?
Yeah.
They didn't even say a word about that. And I get it. They want to protect the victims. I understand that. I understand that. That's why I think they went with the grand jury. It was more to protect, because Anne was being adamant that, hey, we're going to come and we're asking these people to testify. If the people that
but you have to. This is the person. I mean, so she claimed that she like sees the silhouette and all this other stuff, but then she closes her door and does nothing. I mean, that would freak the average person out, wouldn't it? Like you're hearing weird sounds and someone's in there that you don't recognize, or you recognize enough to like see a profile and eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
say it matches, or enough to see bushy eyebrows and stuff like that. Like you saw enough to know that, hey, and he's in a mask and you shut your door. I just will never understand.
And I still want to know, like, are we dealing with a mask that's like ski mask, or are we talking about like a mask that we all had to wear during COVID?
Right. That's what it sounded. They made it sound like on that thing.
Like it was a ski mask.
No, like it was a COVID mask.
Maybe I just assumed.
That's what they did in the beginning. That's what everybody was saying. Like, no, he was just wearing like a COVID mask. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't, clad in all black with a mask. And they could just see his bushy brows.
Yeah. Well, they claimed, okay, so now it's coming back to me too. There was like separate sets of dark clothes or something that were in his car when they arrested him. I did think that was kind of weird. I'm like, unless there's some weird like substance or crusty, something. I don't know that. I think we all own dark clothes, so I don't know that helps life. But
yeah, I just felt it was very, they kept saying like, Bryan's innocent until proven guilty. There was just not that other angle of like, I think it's important to talk about, well, if it's not Bryan, then who? Even for the standpoint of like, hey, Bryan, if you want to exonerate yourself, where were you?
yeah.
If I could say like, okay, I did not kill these people because I was at XYZ at Susie's, wherever, like, I normally do this and I went and did that, you know what I mean? Like, so it's gonna be interesting as far as that like, if you didn't do it, most people at 4 o'clock in the morning are sleeping. So like you can normally say like, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
That's where I was. I mean, what do you mean? I was sleeping. So, but then his phone, I guess, pinging, all over. But I'm going to drop this link. I do this thing where it's like 3 minutes on. So there it is. We're officially on the clock. If you want to make yourself known about what has transpired, take the link. You just have to show yourself in the back area. I'm just really not interested in seeing tits and ass, so just refrain today.
I covered mine up.
Again, welcome to the transparency, the new members. Welcome. Again, I think I clicked. Yeah, there you go. It's up there. I know someone wants to. I'm sure Annie will take that link, but
that's interesting. That's interesting what Miss Potts said too. Yeah.
Did I?
It's fishy. I wish that. I mean, I was looking forward to the preliminary hearing. It's too bad it all happened. Or we'll never know what was said. But
she made some motions. Take that link. Call and voice your opinions. What's up, Mike Droppin? Look at you with the new face. Hey, I do want to make it known. I don't know if she's still in here. New Orleans lady just suffered a really horrible loss. Her mom passed away. So keep New Orleans lady in your prayers and thoughts, guys. She's the biggest sweetheart. So she lost her mom and she's taking care of her. And so again, keep Nola. Not tonight, Lana. I'm packing for the lake. You could take the link for 3 minutes. Wait, she changed her name to Miss Potts? Oh, got rid of the Annie, going with the straight Miss Potts if you're nasty. Like Janet. They have surveillance camera of him in his car during the trip to Moscow that day. Yeah, they don't have him. Like, I don't know. I had where you're getting that from. That's just not out there. There's no pictures of him. That is just not out there.
Like, were they ever even able to nail down, like, hone in a way that you could even make out a license plate number or anything like that?
No license plate.
I think they have. No, it's just a matching car.
Yeah. So no license plate. No, there's the stuff that they were saying. They also said that so Dateline went ahead and confirmed. Well, I don't know where they got this from, but they went ahead and said that Bryan did not get the internship that he wanted or that he applied for online.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get it. Now, once again, that has not come out anywhere. Dateline also said that he was fired. Okay. Where are you getting this from? That, once again, these two things have never been confirmed nor denied by anybody in law enforcement. No one. It's just fired.
They said he was fired?
Why was all of his shit in his apartment? He would have had a great reason not to have any of that shit in that apartment if he, in fact, was fired from his TAing position. But that is just simply not That's facts, not evidence. That's not even there. We don't. If they have that, they have that. We don't have that. What do you got, Lily? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm chilling.
All right. To start off, I just want to say I love your show. I love everything you do.
Oh, thank you, Lily.
And there's a couple of questions, and I've been following not only you, but like Drunk Turkey and so forth. My question has always been, so if they had them under the radar at some point, right? They're bringing in people, ruling them out. My questions are, one, why didn't they ever bring him in for questioning? And two, if there was some sort of unknown male touch DNA on something, why wait and travel all the way to Pennsylvania to get his father's DNA when I know this man had to have had drinks and tossed out, tissues or whatever, and they could have easily found it in Washington and get his own DNA?
Well, their answer to that one is that they didn't zero in on him until after he was gone. That's what they're saying. Now, I find that hard to believe if they were following him when he left.
And then, okay. Well,
that's the one thing
that that's all BS.
I don't know if that's BS though or not.
And then, and I get it. A lot of people are saying things about the two victims, not the two victims, the two witnesses, the survivors. And this is my thought. Everybody wants to crucify this man. And my feelings are, if he's guilty, hey, let everybody get a shot. I think every parent there should have a chance to shoot him and kill him. Yeah. But if he didn't do it, it's like you're so, not you, but the people, so many people are quick to convict them and condemn them, and they're not understanding that this is a man's life. And what if at one point after this man is dead, oops, we made a mistake, it wasn't him, or somebody comes up and makes a confession and has the weapon in their hand, yeah, I did it. It's like it's an injustice, and that's why not only in your channel, but like in JB's and Drunk Turkeys, I'm like, listen, guys, I don't, it's not that she's fighting to free him or they're fighting to free him. It's we're fighting to find the truth at the end of the day.
Everybody has rights. Like, you have your rights. I mean,
absolutely. Well, and never mind. That means there's like the person who did it is still out there. If it's an injustice all the way around if it's not done with truth in mind,
Yeah. Why can't everybody ask what the question is? Like, let me ask you this. Why is it so hard to say, wait, why wasn't 911 called? They may have a great answer as to why it wasn't, okay? So let's hear it. Because I'll tell you what a great answer for me would be. We were partying all day. I took Tylenol PMs. And I went and I passed out and I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I was drunk.
Right. And even with that, I'm going to keep it real, Lana. I mean,
that's like,
it takes 5-year-olds to call 911. We have 5-year-olds that have eventually saved their parents' life or their grandparents' life by calling 911. You're telling me you're hearing all this commotion. You come out, you're capable of saying, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
That's what she said.
But according to what they're saying is what she said. You're telling them, shut the fuck up. All of this, you come back, you go back in, you come back out, you come back in, you come back out, you see a person. And if it was a party, you would have been hearing commotions of other people talking. There was nobody talking at this time. I'm pretty much assuming that everyone had passed away. And You don't find that you don't find that suspicious? Like, okay, this is my thinking. You hearing somebody whimpering, and this is your friend. You don't come out and say, "Hey, Xana, everything's all right. You know, it's good." I mean,
Or go
you know, you
check,
guys are
or go
having a
check
fight or
later.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, nobody comes out to find out what's going on. And you know, the apartment is not a mansion. It's very small, the house. Everything is very close together. And you know, I don't want to criticize people for their opinion, like, okay, no, he's guilty. But it's like, no, you know, like they're just ruling out the fact that there's no way in hell he can be innocent. There's no way in hell he can. There could be another theory. They're just gun ho on their. He's guilty. He's guilty. He's guilty. Let's jump on the train. Oops, I didn't mean to say that. But
it's well,
there's a creator that constantly. I mean, you can bring him anything, and it's not to criticize creators, except for this one. You can bring that person anything, and they'll just block you. And no, you're wrong. He's guilty. I don't care.
Okay, well, I don't want to talk about other people, so
you know, no. But what I'm trying to say with that is that that person, that creator, is not giving room for any other possibility. If you understand what I'm trying to say,
yeah,
like he's not giving.
Yeah, but that goes back to the very simple thing: is you're innocent in the United States of America until proven guilty, and God forbid you're ever blamed for doing something, because like, look at what's going on. And like, this doesn't mean that we're saying that Bryan Kohberger is innocent. We're saying that, whoa, like, just, you know, and I think the Gonsalveses are doing a great job about that. They're like, we're going to do our due diligence. We want anybody that's involved. Like, we're not.
And he's awesome.
Just because it's, you know.
And you're absolutely right. He's awesome because he's saying we want the right guy. Like he wants to go after them, you know, like a bulldog, and by rights he should, but he wants the right guy. Right now, he sees, you know, BK there, so yeah, he's gonna make comments, but he's also being open to, like, wait a minute, I want to make sure, like, let's bring everything out on the table, like whatever it is, let's bring it out. Like you mentioned the 3 warrants or probable causes. If you listen, everybody says that later on they were made aware of the sheath. One person says you can see it from the outside.
That's it, just one person.
Like you can see it, you know, like going into the room, there's a sheath on the right side of Maddie's body. Then you have the other one that says it could be maybe next to her or under her. The other one that was with Payne absolutely did not see anything. That's what he wants us all to believe. And then later on, Payne said he was made aware of by Payne. Oh, yeah, and by the way, there was a sheath there. Like, I don't understand that process.
Well, that actually happened a little bit differently than that. It was, he doesn't say that he didn't see it or not. It was, Smith didn't even write up a report. That's who walked into the house.
That's the first 2 that came in, right?
Yes. Yeah, Smith just never, we don't even have Smith's report. So that's who walked Blaker and Payne through the house. Payne's report is that he saw it later. And Blaker's report is that he was notified by ISP that there was a sheath. And I think the little glimpse that we got of when they went to Bryan Kohberger's to do the search warrant, and how the guy said to the other guy, which was Blaker, one of the people from WSU says, oh, there's a computer in there. He said something to the effect about there, you know, he says it's sparse in there, but then talking about that there was a computer or something to do with the computer. And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, they're talking to each other. So I find it hard to believe that Payne is not the one to tell Blaker about the sheath. That's the thing that I always thought was interesting.
I mean, they're walking together.
From
did they ever have their body cams on?
Where?
Does anybody know? Blaker.
Moscow is going to have theirs on. So.
Because Smith had his on, because according to their report, by viewing the body cam, they later saw that.
No, they said Noonan's. They said Noonan's cam. That was about the dog, Noonan's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never talked about Smith's body cam. They just talked about Noonan's.
But what I'm saying is, if one has a body cam,
oh, they all have their body cam on.
All have a body cam.
Yeah, they all have their body cam on, or they're gonna have to answer as to why it would be off. But yeah, they have their body cam on. Absolutely.
And then, and like I said, and then my question would always be, if you had the opportunity, or you were, coherent enough to call friends or text people and say, listen, something is going on, then you should have been smart enough to call 911. I mean, I get we're scared and all, but that always, to me, that long, like,
I just think there's going to be an answer for it. They have an answer for it, and I just think the answer is that, the thing that I would think that would be, I went to sleep, I passed out, you know what I mean? But if you say that, then how are you going to be able to say that you saw somebody if you're saying that you passed out?
True.
So that's going to be
these are my two main questions. So these were my thoughts of the case. But my two main questions that I would like to ask you guys, or ladies, excuse me, is one, with the preliminary being done, and that was the secret grand jury, will they be able to still make those witnesses come in, even if, like, the prosecution doesn't want to, even if the prosecution doesn't want to use them? Can the defense make them come in if they have, if they feel like they have something to give, whether it be for the prosecution or for the defense?
Are you talking about whoever was a witness?
Yes. Bethany and Dylan, can the defense still make them come in? Even as counsel? Yeah, during the trial.
Yeah. They're testifying at the trial.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if
this
they
has
weren't
nothing
able
to
to use
all
them.
the grand jury was for was they indicted him. So, like, it'd be like going to the preliminary hearing and then the judge saying, okay, after seeing everything, yes, we're going forward with this trial.
Okay. And so
but they get to do, but then they get to do it without showing their hand,
Yeah.
And then the second one, and I think you girls touched on it, was the sheath. Even if they don't want to use it, can the defense still bring that in and question it?
Yes,
if it's still there.
Right. Imagine.
I'm questioning where the fuck the sheath is. I'm gonna say it. I want to know where the sheath is.
That would be interesting, huh? Like, it's just misplaced at this point.
Yeah. Yes. I want to know where the sheath is.
But they had to send it back to the Texas place.
Right. Yeah. I want to see that.
Well, someone was saying the governor. So I'm assuming, because I know who the governor is in Washington, because I worked in politics, that I actually worked for him when he was a congressman. But I know he didn't go to University of Idaho. The governor currently is an alum from University of Idaho.
I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
But there's too many people either related or working in the same place
in Idaho.
And another thing, another question: were they able to stop them? Were they able to stop them from, like, not tearing down the house until after the trial?
I think it's gonna stay. You see that? I posted that picture of the new trailer that they have out there.
I did see that.
It's got air conditioning, so somebody can stand there now, and it's not a car; it's a little, like, mini trailer, like with it's so tiny.
Yeah. Oh no, but that's good.
Thanks, Lily. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you, ladies, thank you, Lana, for taking my call. And ladies,
all day, every day, baby girl.
And I
Good
love
questions.
what you do, and just keep going, girl.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye.
Bye, Lily. Nice to meet you.
She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. Telling you,
So
this
someone
channel.
was saying, what if, so the delay in, because I didn't want to interrupt anything she was talking about because it was very interesting. But what if there were drugs in anyone's system, maybe 8 hours, 9 hours is enough to take care of that?
You mean as far as like we need to wait to call because I have drugs in my system?
Yeah, it was something that someone thought of in chat, and I'm like, well,
I just see this. If I was partying in college, again, this is my logic, and I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and I was drinking all day and I pass out, depending on if I took something to aid for my sleep, depending on like if I was sick, whatever. But you could sleep through, because everyone's saying how quick this was. You could sleep through something like that, and then you're not waking up until 11 noon.
Right.
That's what happens all the time. So that to me, like that happening, like that to me seems normal. But then you're taking two major parts out of it, which is there is no identification then, if that's what happened. If you then the person can't say that they saw somebody. And then also like your time of death or your time of crime, because that's also based on the eyewitness.
Yeah.
So, but if somebody says that, because to me it's simple, like, yeah, of course we didn't get up and we didn't start walking around and notice anything because I didn't get up until 11. And then I was up and I was just texting in my bed. You know what I mean? Like I do every morning. And then I got up and went to the bathroom, but my phone would show that, my phone would show that I wasn't walking around until this time, that I didn't start making phone calls or texts until a certain time. So that's
one of the things I'm most curious about. It's like that was sort of the bummer. It's like going to grand jury means that we didn't get, and there's advantages to that, to the state too. They're not tipping their hand to the defense on what their case fully is. I mean, but they're still responsible for turning over evidence as it's coming in, even if it doesn't vote in their favor. I don't know. I mean, it's like, of course, we're all just speculating here, but I'm like, the idea that the sheath has gone missing, that's an interesting thought. That would explain why suddenly we're not going to use it. Oh, and we don't want to give you any of the information. It's like, oh, I bet MF's like, where to go? Like, yeah, that's funny.
So here I have a question for you. I'm going to use this I don't know if you heard, a big part of Jen's Coffindoffer's, like, what their, I think, kind of like Dateline was going with too, is that one of the two people upstairs was the target, and that Ethan and Xana were never supposed to, they kind of, when he came down from being upstairs, that he ran into Xana because of the DoorDash order that she, either went and got when she got it, or when she was done from her room, was, coming to bring it, to the kitchen. And that when he was coming down from being upstairs, that he would have ran into Xana, or Ethan, you know what I mean? Whoever was the person that had the food to go put it in like the kitchen. My issue with that is then he's coming down the stairs. If you know the layout of the house, there's only one real true place that you could then kind of run into somebody versus like them see you see them maybe from like a distance, but like to physically run into it would be if you're coming down the stairs, he makes an immediate left to go walk out the kitchen to the slider, is to see her in the kitchen. Now, or when you're coming down the stairs and you get to all the way to the bottom of the second floor, if you see her just like across the way because she's coming from around her room, and you see me, I see you, that would be then he has a choice to just run out or
leave, or I mean,
or go like after her, and then she's running back into the room, because they're trying to say that, again, this is what
is that their theory? Is that their theory that they somehow?
That was Jen Coffindoffer's theory, is that either Kaylee or Maddie was a target, and that he goes upstairs, and I don't know if Bryan was surprised they were both in the same room.
Okay, so you guys picture it, right? For
I would think there'd just be a lot of screaming.
Well, past college age, but I'm like, I would scream. I'm sorry, I'm going to get my DoorDash order.
Yeah, and I see somebody in all black in my house with a knife.
Especially if they start coming after me rather than heading to the door. So I might run back to my room where my boyfriend is, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I guess maybe, but I would think that then you're yelling,
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So like for me, I could see myself, like if I saw somebody, like I'd be like, at first you don't. I was watching the ID channel once at my apartment. Way back in the day. And I was watching Damn Disappeared, and I forgot to lock my door in an apartment. Like, you get in from the outside, like it's just, and they're right across, there's another door that people could go in. Well, this guy was drinking, and he's my neighbor. He came into my door instead of going to his.
Oh,
and
boy.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Versus like saying like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I was like, what are you doing? And
that's because you're tough, but okay.
No, but honestly, like, but my heart dropped.
I was gonna say, actually, that wouldn't, you might not want to like startle them or whatever either. That would freak me out.
He just like walked right in, like no knock, just walked right in. I was like, and he's like, oh my God, wrong apartment. I'm thinking to myself, why is my door even like open? Like, what's going on?
Right.
But
I
didn't scream, but my heart did drop. Like that was just my natural reaction.
Freezing.
But also, he didn't have a knife.
Right. There's no.
All my lights were on, and I wasn't alone. But I was like,
what's that cop's name with her?
Amber Geiger.
Gun pulled, and what are you
doing?
But
that could be too. I guess it is possible that she's like, "Are you here seeing something?" Okay, so especially if we assume that he had just like a COVID mask on, or whatever. And
we know that the knife would have been exposed in some capacity.
Okay, so that's different, though. I mean, that's
Well, I'm thinking. I mean, where are you going to put the knife?
We'd be bloody by then too, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, he just killed 2 people.
Yeah.
Whoever the person was that did this, and they say it's Bryan. So my question is that wouldn't there be at the start of an attack before you got to the bedrooms? If you went into, because but remember the original thing that these people were sleeping in their beds.
Yeah.
And these people were like, because they were killed in the rooms. So she would have to like run to that room then. And, because that would be something that I would do too. Like I would try to get away, run, and then try to close the door, lock it. You know what I mean? And if you couldn't lock it in time, and like the person got to you. So maybe.
Ooh. Look at under reviews comment. That's interesting too.
What is up, CB?
Hey, what's up, y'all? How you doing?
How are you? What do you got for us?
So, like, part of what you're talking about now is obviously amongst a million other things, like one of the biggest things that never sat right, because even like, all right, let's say, boom, he did it. They pulled like guns out of his house on the, the seizure list or whatever. So he comes into the house and he's able to at least keep one person quiet by like maybe holding them at gunpoint, right? Before he does whatever. If there's like defensive wounds and somebody is at least fighting him off, there's just no way that, in my opinion, it could be silent enough to not alert the other people. Because we're always going to go back to the 2 surviving roommates, but before there was 2, there was 3, and then there was 4. You know what I'm saying? He started with 1, and then it didn't alert the others. So at one point, there was 4 people that could have called the police. There's 4 people that could have been made aware of what happened.
Good point.
If you're coming at me, I like to think of myself as kind of tough, but if a psycho's in my house with a butcher knife in the middle of the night, I might not say anything. Yeah. I might have a heart attack. Mm-hmm. But if I saw you on if I saw you on my best friend, like my instinct would be like, get the F off of her, Mm-hmm. I just can't imagine that entire scene going on and it not being somewhat alerting. But okay, so let's say miraculously it's quiet enough where the other 2 people who survived didn't know anything, they slept through it. Well, if that's really the case, then and I'm not victim shaming at all. I'm just really more curious. If that's really the case in the morning, right? You get up, you had a rough night or whatever. Unless everybody's behind closed doors entirely, and there's not one speck of anything to indicate that there was an issue, how else would you not think that you're not safe? Like if I woke up and I saw like a literal bloodbath, I'm not calling I'm getting the F out of the house. I'm calling the cops. I mean, not that Hunter Johnson doesn't look like a very tall, strapping lad.
Yeah, like you're getting out of there. Like what's to make you think that the people aren't still in there that just did that?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, how do you know? You just woke up. Like, you don't know it happened hours ago. So if you're like able to call,
why would you be calling people to there? You should be getting the hell up out of there and be running from there.
Exactly. And that's really where it's all confusing, is that you didn't hear anything, and then you were able to call other people, you know.
Yeah, like when I would see, I would.
Because you don't know that the threat is over.
Yeah.
There could be somebody still in the house just waiting on you to come out of your room.
Yep.
So that's all.
You know what I think I think that's a great thing that they could bring up in court, is to wait. So let me get this straight. You call people over to the house versus so you're bringing people into a possible. I mean, you don't know if that person, like you said, is still there. You don't even know how the people were. Think about it. You'd be so like, wait, what is it? You wouldn't know if somebody was shot. If somebody was, I mean, I don't know. I had a guy that called 911 saying that somebody got hit by a car and there were 6 bullets in his head, and he was standing over the body allegedly when he called 911, and they called bullshit. Like, get the hell out of here. How are you standing over a body and you can't see that there's 6 gunshots to someone's head, and that you think that somebody got hit by a car?
Those are kind of apparent.
Yeah, right. So I love, actually, this is I think a great point. And I don't think anybody's really talking about that. So CB, I love it. I think that's a great point that needs to be talked about more, is that you'd be running out of there. You'd be, going to your neighbors. You'd be, at the very least, like
another thing too, like that aside, I don't really know what the motive to have people come over would be. Because, all right, let's entertain, they were these like closet drug lords and they had tons of drugs in the house. Well, I mean, if you're worried about the cops getting the drugs, I mean, I can't imagine they had anything in there that was worth risking your own life for. But if you're afraid of getting in trouble, not to be foul, but there's literally 4 people you could pin it on that can't, speak in their own defense. So what are you bringing people in there for? What are you even cleaning up? Unless you're going to hide 4 bodies, there's nothing to clean up. Like, that scene is what it is. So it's just so many things don't make sense. And it's like, there's not really, nobody's really asking those bizarro questions. So I guess that's where I come in. But
yeah,
they have a dog. I'm reading your chat. I'm fascinated by some of the
Kaylee had a dog, and it was allegedly in her room, unharmed.
No bark. Nobody had heard anything.
Well, allegedly, there's on the one Ring camera, they heard a dog barking allegedly at 4:17 a.m. But
I mean, look at their neighbors here. I mean, this picture you have up here is perfect because it's showing. And then, of course, we know there's there's houses in the back. There's houses on the other side. They're packed in there.
Oh yeah, this house is right on top of it. That's the house that's like what they say is 50 feet. 50 feet.
Yeah.
It's built. I mean, think about this. It's an old house, guys. It's built like crap, so you can hear. I mean, it's very thin walls.
And actually, these like aerial shots and these shots that they show and you see on TV, like if you take a look at the whole area, these houses are on top of each other. It's like amazing.
Yeah, they're very crammed. Yeah.
Forget the roommates. What do the neighbors hear anything? Like, that's how close all these places are.
Yeah.
In the
camera, so right there you can see how close that one room is to that.
As big as it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a very awkward. I mean, honestly, it's a great party house. I know why so many people would want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's look at that. Like, look at all that area. You got the parking. You don't have to park on the street. You got the parking. You got that whole backyard. I mean, it's just
that's another thing too. Like the night of, the whole lot was filled. The lot was filled with cars. Like you have to be pretty convinced that you're gonna. I mean, if it really went down the way they're alleging, exactly how they said, like he executed a pretty amazing feat by getting in and out of there and doing that in that amount of time with zero, if he had zero knowledge of what was on the other side of the door with a packed lot full of cars. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like Parents Weekend over at WSU during that weekend, right? Is that right?
It was Parents Weekend was the weekend before.
At WSU or at Idaho?
Oh, Idaho.
Because I thought that not that anybody there is from WSU, but like there's people that have kids that go to like one goes to one goes to the other. How do you know?
There's a lot of
crossover.
Washington State. There's so much crossover there that they all go party at each other's, you know.
I think WSU though had Parents Weekend that weekend.
That's just a lot of cars out there to just say, all right, you know, I'm gonna go in here blind and you know, and just be able to kind of like zip through there in that much time. So there's definitely like just so much.
Dayline's theory. The people on Dayline think that at one of these parties that Bryan just decided that he was just going to go in the house and just walk around and check it out and to know where everybody was because these people were out and about and not at their house, that he could just slip in unnoticed. And I'm like, every time, every body cam I've ever shown, there's people at that house, and the guys of fraternities, I'm sorry, but they're very protective. Like they pay attention to that because they like to be dicks. They like to be like, who are you? Get the hell out of here. I mean, they want to flex.
You know this guy?
Yeah. So to think that he just like waltzed in there and it was like checking out where people were sleeping and whose room is who, I don't think that happened.
Well, they also retroactively say how he was and how he stared at people. That he was a creep, so they wouldn't notice him during those parties.
Even like his survey and things like that. It's like, so his line of work makes him weird. It's like I've done continuing education where I have, you know, did like classes in forensics and profile. Does that mean that I'm like overly invested? You know what I mean? It's like you got to be careful with that kind of stuff because maybe, you know, it's his line of work that he was looking to go in. So there might be some creepy things. Does it become a fascinating story if he's proven guilty? Yes, but I don't take that as like evidence.
He fits the FBI profile. I mean, this is your FBI profile. You know what I thought was interesting is you have a girl on there. Why didn't you ask her, have you ever seen Bryan? Did you ever see him before? Have you ever seen Bryan? Because the answer is no. Not a single person can come forward on that campus that was hanging out with them to say, I know Bryan Kohberger. Not one person. Not one person can say that they saw him over here. And how often the cops were being called, I'm sure one of them damn body cams. I mean, if you think that he's stalking the way that you're saying, you're telling me that none of those body cams caught him lurking and watching.
Tall guy. He's a tall guy, isn't he? I mean, he stands out.
Yeah, he's skinny though. I mean, I don't know. I think that
if he did it, whoever did it, you know, they deserve literally like the worst of the worst. But
yeah, that's the thing is whoever did this. I mean, you just totally ruined a community in these girls' lives and Ethan's life, and
they're trying to paint him to be like an incel. I honestly don't. I mean, yeah, when he comes into court with the jumpsuit and he's looking all gaunt and creepy, he looks like he could be. But when you see him in like the body cam footage when he's getting a traffic stop, he's honestly like, not to no disrespect, but he's in no different league than Jack or Jake. Like, I don't see why he couldn't have been dating one of them, given the guys that they date.
They definitely teased him out as an incel.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
And I agreed. I agree with you 100%. I thought that too. I was like, he looks really better than average, honestly.
Listen, the nerds, the nerds get the
people are
good
just
jobs,
tearing
you
him
know?
up everywhere.
Well, that's
another reason I like media.
Intelligence is attractive. You know, he's a smart guy.
Exactly.
But you listen to his old classmate, and then you take into account his new coworker. You know, one was like, we didn't think he was creepy. It was just Bryan being Bryan. And then if somebody else actually not only didn't find him creepy, but they found him trustworthy enough that they wanted him to, like, they called him for help in a crisis time.
Security systems.
Yes.
You know, and
I thought that was
but it just speaks to the perception of him. You know, it's
right. They viewed him more as someone who was helpful and, you know,
this girl had enough like
judgmental, protector, that kind of thing.
I mean, maybe he set up the cameras and she's like, I'm scared. Like, could you hold on to the password in case, like, anything, you know, you could check on me and make sure I'm not getting axe murdered.
But see, like, why didn't they just have her on the show? What either have her on the show or don't talk about it?
I think because if they were involved on that level, they was probably smashing, and I don't think I'd want to fess up to being a Kohberger.
Well, you just don't have to ask those. You don't have to answer those. Like, they don't have to ask that. Come on, state line. They're just, you can skate around that. I mean, shit, they didn't ask a lot of things, but I just
she might not have wanted to be. She might not have wanted to be. You know, if she felt it was being presented a certain way, she might have, you know, disagreed or.
The other girl, the girl that he grew up with, that like went on TikTok right away, the one that was at the wedding with him.
the one that said that he was on heroin.
Like, come on, like you have text messages from how many years ago when he's like, "Oh, take me for a ride."
2013.
I mean, that's like, do you have like a crush on him? Like, I think she was feeling him at that wedding because she was like, "Oh my God, Bryan, you look so good." Now you got his text messages from 10 years ago. Like, that's a little sus too, sweetie. You know,
she said he's on heroin.
No, I heard that too. Who was it that told them that he was on heroin?
They're saying he went from doing weed to heroin.
Right, and I never saw that.
I don't even want to say anything. I'm like, because you know, I have thoughts on that. I have to listen, you guys. So yes, I have a JD and all that, but my associate's degree was in chemical dependency counseling. I know a lot about, you know, different drugs and interactions and things like that. He strikes me as being very high functioning for anyone who had a full-blown heroin dependency. You know what I mean? I don't know. He said he's tried it, but I'm like,
I mean, if he did,
I didn't know heroin was a thing in this case. Like, I'm just like, wow, that's interesting.
It was so many years ago, but who saved the person?
I'm in rehab.
Who sends text messages for 10 years?
Heroin addicts aren't very stabby.
Crafton,
you know,
that's being a little white.
You must not know these crazies on social media. Kim, she says, "Who saves text messages from 10 years ago?" I said, "You must not know these crazies on social media."
Oh, you don't know the people we all encountered.
I mean, listen,
YouTube.
No, I agree though. They were in the DMs. They were. You got to go way back. I thought those were DMs.
I get sent my MySpace all the time.
She says they're probably smashing. Smash pad.
There's definitely something going on there.
I just thought that they would have the Tinder girl actually on, but she's over there talking about. I was blown.
The birthing hips.
Blown to bits. Yeah, when they put the red on.
Well, and that's why I was like, I don't even know if I want to say anything because, you know, I mean, it's a highly addictive drug, but it's not like there are people that try it or you know, there are recreational users. So
I was waiting for that Mod Squad.
Well, that's studios, right? Maybe he would have gone there to score something and had his phone off for that reason.
I know people that keep their texts, print them out, and put them on their refrigerator. That
I'm not trying to fly the free Bryan flag, but I'm just saying after that thing we watched, I'm like, we owe it to fucking question this shit because I'm excuse my language, but yeah, this is just like, okay, I was going to see how it all played out, but after they're sitting there. They didn't say how they had come about this concept of he's a heroin addict. That's just a good point. I was like, okay, that's the first I've ever heard of that. Well, and then everything was our sources say that someone else says.
Yes.
That happened 3 times at minimal.
Well, there's things that are
hearsay.
Yes.
And there's things
on hearsay.
There's things that are starting to remind me of the Scott Peterson case. Where it's like, okay, so now all of a sudden his like affect is a huge piece of evidence if you consider how the media is talking, and now we're just all supposed to believe that he's really creepy.
Well, like in Scott Peterson's case, they're across the street breaking into the house openly with the van just pulled out to the street, just grabbing stuff and throwing it out. But no, they're too careful to have done anything else.
Oh, they said they didn't, so they must not have. Yeah. You know what went missing in that case? The whole van
and the TV. You know, I wanted to see that.
What's up, Daniel? What's up, Drunk Turkey? Gobble, 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 gobble.
Oh, I appreciate you. I don't want to take.
You rock, CB. You rock, CB. You got it, girl. I like it though. If you walk out to that, you're gonna be getting the hell out of there.
I mean, I hope anybody, you know, I hope nobody's faced with that situation, but get out of the house. You know, y'all peace, be good. Appreciate y'all.
You too, love.
Nice to meet you.
Like I said, got the best peeps here.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I feel bad because I'm not interacting as much because I'm reading your chat and I'm like, people have really good questions and really good thoughts.
Yeah, this is the think tank.
Yeah, and it's all on the table. I mean, this unlike that crappy Dateline. I'm sorry, man.
Well, I caught that they were doing this sort of incel angle, and I'm like,
and I get it though. That's the FBI profile. Like that's
right.
But but then because he lost weight, right? So he was like a nerd in high school. I'm sorry, how many of us were nerds in high school and didn't like have our glow up or like have other people interested until college? Not all of us, but some of us. You know what I mean? So it's like,
thank you.
Okay, and then even if chicks weren't all that interested in college, it's like, yeah, but he was at the end of college, and that's where it's like now all of a sudden he's a dude with a great job, and so it's just, it doesn't seem valid. It doesn't seem like it even matters, but it's being talked about.
Yeah.
What if he is on the spectrum, you guys? That makes people
that's been talked about. That's been talked about.
Yeah.
The other part is
another point. The Dateline was he speaking to being possibly on the spectrum. They're like, well, if a cop stops you and you find out you're not going to get charged or you're not going to get a ticket, your affectation is supposed to be to relax, and the father relaxes, but he doesn't. So he's clearly hiding something. And this was the expert that said this.
But there's so many different people. I don't feel like this whole behavioral thing should even be a factor in any trial, any investigation, any lenience towards guilt. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if they've said something somewhere, that's different. They've texted something. But if you're just going off of their affect.
What's up? Don't dive 509. Are you there? Don't dive. Okay, well.
But it's like, we're all very different. So whereas Len is like, what the F are you doing in here, right? Like, you might have handled that different. I would have probably, because I would have probably been like, the fuck out of my head. You know what I mean? It's like, we're all different.
Yeah. It's now put me like sleeping on the couch. Like if I was sleeping on the couch, 11, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and that happens, like to be sleeping and somebody walks over and stands over you. Are you kidding me? I would be like, and I woke up.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think there would be a lot of noise if they were saying that would be people running into each other awake and alive. Also now they're just talking about a lot of perfect storms, people running into each other like that. He had to go up the stairs. He had to then come back down if he was trying to be quiet, So the other thing is that you want to think about is that was there any noise happening upstairs? Because remember her first, Dylan's first thing that she says, she thought she heard Kaylee say she thinks there's someone here. And it was people in the PCA that were writing it. Well, it could have been Xana because she was awake type of thing. And I think maybe Xana's phone shows that maybe she was walking at that time. Maybe she was taking steps at that time with her phone. That would be interesting. I always have my phone with me. Like I'll go to that room, I grab my phone. You know what I mean? It's walking with me. It's going to show those steps I took. But it would be interesting that the people on the second floor hear what happened and was like, what is that? No, what is that? Did you hear that type of thing? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
But it was Datelines that either Kaylee or Madison was the target, and maybe the killer was surprised they were both in the same room. We don't even know that right now. We don't even know if one walked in on something because the dog was in the other room. And then going back to what Mr. Gonsalves said, he said that, Kaylee's words were completely different. Her point, like her, what was the exact phrase? And I thought to myself, well, if Kaylee was standing up because she encountered what was going on, then it would be, but, and that would maybe cause the whole sheath, situation then in that room. But let's see if this works again.
Well, I mean, it's quite a feat anyway to accomplish all of that, and then he forgets, and then he just magically loses.
That's it. Points of damage.
That's a pretty major leave behind, you know?
When you hear points of damage don't match, I mean, that tells me it's like a different type of like wound, possibly.
Yeah.
Your points of damage don't
unless
match.
there's, well, I mean, unless they have any indication that, no, I don't think so. I'm not even going to finish that. I was like, unless something happened to the knife while something was going on where something broke, but that I don't think that would happen with that particular knife.
Let me see if I can do this one more time. I don't know. Are you there? It's just not. You got to go get better service. I think that's the problem. Oh God, who put out there that there's a secret room in this house? Like I am.
Now it's the H.H. Holmes building. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Love them. Let's see. Are you there? No. Let's see, Jeremy, what does it say? Can anyone cite one case in the history of law when someone who was found to be innocent stood silent when asked how did they plead? I'll save you time. You won't be able to find one example. Well, there you have it. There you have
Nicholas
it.
Cruz, the only one that I could think of that.
BTK, they say. Someone said that he did too. I don't know.
Did BTK do that? No, that sounds like someone in the rumor mill. I will look that up right now. I bet not. That sounds like something.
No, people want to say that. Look that up.
No. I don't think that.
Don't say that on my show. We don't know that. We don't know who said that.
That was Crafton. See, that's why I was like, Crafton, just take a link, bro.
No, I didn't say he did.
I'm saying who. The question was, guys, is no one's watching that to the end of it. The question is this is the question. The question is who's ever done that has actually been found to be innocent?
Oh, no one I know of. No one.
Yeah, he standed mute. Yeah.
So
entered a not indicate on his behalf.
Yeah, so I just.
So it is true.
So I guess we can all go do some homework and see if you guys can find that.
Yeah, I'm just looking now.
Not too many people say
BTK way he stood mute.
BTK stood mute.
And the Waller entered a not
I'm in there too.
plea on his behalf.
Yes.
Who did his lawyer say something?
Put $100 in the super chat.
Shut up, Crampton.
Wait, so his lawyer Jesus stood silent?
Jesus.
Is that
Jesus?
No, that's what someone wrote in chat.
Wow.
Jesus didn't. Jesus turned the cheek, man. Come on.
Right. That may be a good point. We may need to go down that rabbit hole on another case. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. So
where
we
did
have,
you find yours?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'll follow up though.
Just
so I'm like, yeah, it's in an article. I don't know. I'll look up the actual case and see.
Yeah. They discussed that before they did it.
Wave trial.
You know.
But that was different, I feel. But I don't think
I'm gonna round this out. I'm to that 1:30 mark. I'm trying to keep these to an hour and 30. Because everyone's
Thank you for having me.
Jesus was silent.
Very interesting. And I got to ask my question.
Yeah, what question? I mean,
I'm
interested to see this evidentiary hearing. You know, I want to know what evidence you have against. If I was, what evidence do you have against me that like you accuse me of poisoning a dog? What evidence do you have that shows that I poisoned a dog?
Okay.
You know, you know, but when I was being accused of poisoning a dog,
they saw it on Dateline.
Let's see if this works.
They saw it on Dateline, Lana.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay,
God
there
damn,
you go.
I'm on.
Okay. I was like,
oh my God. I was like, I've been trying like 3 times. I'm like, I'm about to give up. Hey, Lana. Hey, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited. TNT.
Dynamite. Welcome.
Okay, listen to this, y'all. I mean, y'all can check out their channel, but I watched. You ever heard of Todd Siegel?
I heard of Benny Siegel.
Okay, well, this guy. Now, I know when y'all gonna hear this, y'all gonna say, "Oh God, here we go." This is this guy and this girl, Allie. His name is Todd Siegel. He's a psychic detective. I know.
Oh, yes.
But listen, I know. But but listen real quick, and then I'm gonna jump off. I don't want to take y'all's time. I don't want to keep up too much of y'all's time. But when I watched this last night, I was like, "Oh my God!" Now, how would they know this? How would they know this? Okay, him and her both. They've matter of fact, they helped with the Delphi case, and both of them were like dead on with a lot of the with a lot of the stuff that went down. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to watch it, listen to it. Well, listen to what they said about the Idaho 4 case. They said the white truck. Okay, now she said, okay, for all the people in the chat, I've looked into some of the case. And then Todd said, well, I haven't that much, you know, because he said that really would take up a lot of my time. But he said he looked into a little bit of it. So both of them, as they were talking, she said, well, Todd, I feel like there's more than, you know, one person. One person couldn't have did this. And he said, oh, no, there was more. He said, there was more. And he said, it's not from what you're telling me of how the murders occurred. He said, I feel it. And he also said there's a white truck. He said, I think, isn't there a white truck you had said? And she said, yeah, there was a white truck that passed Kaylee, Maddie, and Jack Showalter. He said that white truck is a red herring. That's what he said. He said the white truck is connected. Now, it's just weird of what they were saying, but the white truck is connected to, he's a mechanic in Moscow, Idaho. He's connected with 2 other people there in a drug ring. Listen to this, between Tacoma, and the first one I thought of was Dimitri. Okay. Between Tacoma, Washington, and Idaho. That's what he said. He said there's 2 other people involved. And she said, yeah. And she said, Todd, I got the impression one of them had bad breath due to possibly chewing tobacco. And yeah, I know. Landon, you're gonna make me pee in my pants. I know. I thought the same thing,
what?
But
if Dateline can do it, shit, bring it, girl.
But listen. So anyway, he was saying how he didn't think. He said, I don't really believe that Kohberger killed them. I think he knew what was going to go down. Now listen to this. He said, I think Kaylee was investigator. That she found out some bad drug stuff that was going on within the house.
FBI.
Well, no, not by, like undercover. No, he said he thinks like she could have found some stuff. Yeah, that's what he said. And the girl, Allie agreed and said, I got the same vibes. That's what she said. Okay. So Bryan was connected to Kaylee through that. Now he said, the girl, Allie said, well, Todd, what about stalker? He said, I think he could have stalked her, but not like in a stalking way. Not in a like to go and stalk her anonymously. He said, no, I don't think that's how it was. He said, I don't think he was a stalker. He said, I think him and her had a lot in common. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, maybe they did. Who knows? We don't know. You know, maybe that's how Kaylee and Bryan's connected. So Bryan, supposedly, this is what he said. He feels that Bryan was going to warn them, and it was too late. That there was 3 guys, because Kaylee opened her mouth on the whatever was going on. That's what he said. That's
so
what I seen last night.
Going there to warn them.
To warn them, and it was too late. That's what he said. Then the guy with the white truck, he said he's a mechanic. He said, I don't know his first name, but he said, I have a feeling something's coming to me about a Scottish last name that would be like with a Mick, like a McGregor or a McCormick, something like that. And he said, this guy, Todd Siegel, has, I think, a podcast and a YouTube channel. And that girl, Allie, she does too. And they're like, I guess you could say psychic detectives. That's what they go by, because that's what him and her said. But anyway, he said that the person in the white truck he feels is a mechanic in Moscow locally, but he does business with a drug ring between Tacoma, Washington, and Moscow.
Really?
And that and that Kaylee opened her mouth. I mean, that's what he said. You know, so I mean, I don't know. And he said he wasn't getting any vibes on no white Elantra. Because she asked him about that. She said, do you feel anything about a white car, like a white Elantra or anything like that? He said, no. He said, I'm focusing on the truck. The white truck that passed them that night. He said, that's what my senses are telling me. Focus on the white truck. And he said, they're local. And then he said, one of them, their name is Jimmy. He said, I'm getting a feeling about a name, Jimmy. And I mean, this guy is not like that other psychic person that's on YouTube. I can't remember his name. He's got a deep voice. No, this guy right here almost sounds legitimate, you know. And so he's been doing this for years.
And
I'm like, wow.
What did he help in the Delphi case? I'm just curious. What in the Delphi case?
He said it was the oh gosh, was there a blonde? He said something about the blonde girl. He was saying that it was more than one. Something about the railroad track. See, I didn't look into that case. I don't know much about it. I was just listening to what they were saying about it. And he said something about a railroad track. He said it wasn't just one, it was 2. He said, I believe that. I really, that's my feeling, my psychic feeling that's telling me there was 2 people involved with that killed him.
Yeah.
And Allie says, yeah. She said, Todd, I got the same thing. You know, I agree. But it's Todd Siegel.
2 people are involved in this killing?
3.
Oh, and
they said 3. They said 3. But he said he feels Bryan Kohberger was going to warn him. He said, that's the feeling that I'm getting. He said, now whether he's involved somehow, but he said he didn't kill him. He said, I don't have no feeling at all that he murdered him. He said, is he connected somehow? He said, possible, but he said, I feel that he was warning them. warning someone, going to warn someone. So, I mean, I don't know if it's anything to worth, checking it out. But I mean, and then he even said that the mechanic guy with the white truck has a brown. He said, well, no, Allie said that. She said, I kind of had a dream, and she said this guy lives near them. They got a light colored house with like a fence around it, and he's got a a brown pit bull dog. I know it sounds funny, but
there's a dog involved, but who had
I mean, see, that's why I was on Dagos, and I think
I'll take a when I go to bed tonight, I'll fall asleep to it.
Okay. Because I was on Dagos, and I think Dr. Thrifty was on there, and I was going to see maybe if he could have looked into. I wanted him to let me know anything else about that white truck, if that white truck was ever parked in front of the corner club.
Well, that's Benny Siegel's a rapper, so that's what I thought you were talking about. They were rapping.
Oh, no. Oh, no, this is, no.
I'm just playing with you.
No. Yeah, no rapper.
No rapping here. Okay. All right, well,
I mean, this is what the guy said. I don't know if it's worth anything, Lana, but I just... Wait, what was that again?
He's been saying this for a while?
I don't know. I just went on and watched their video for the first time.
Wait,
and I mean, he just...
For the first time. You're cracking me up. But you've seen him in other cases, though, right?
Wait, what?
Wait, you've seen him?
No, I didn't.
Oh, but he's been talking about this.
No, this last night. They've been working cases for a long time.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is the first time.
Last night, and you just heard it for the first time.
Oh no, girl. Oh,
Okay. They were just live last night.
No. Yeah, they were live, and that was the first time I had ever clicked on their channel. And just so happened they were talking about the Delphi case first, and then they started talking about the Idaho case.
Okay, cool.
And I said, well, let me listen to see what they got to say.
Okay, yeah.
And it was just interesting because I started kind of thinking about it. I said, well, who's Jimmy, and who could have a brown pit bull? Who's got a light color, maybe white house with a fence around it, and it's got a lot of junk around in the yard, that guy said. And they don't live far. They live pretty nearby.
That's a lot of houses over there.
And he said, I know. That's what I thought too. So I've been trying to think about it. I even went and was pulling up some maps, trying to look around there. And I did find one. I did, probably 2 blocks away. And I forgot the street. And there was a light color house with a bunch of junk all around the house in the yard. And there was a white picket dilapidated fence. And I'm like, oh, hell, I wonder if that's it.
Well, I'll take a look.
I don't know. I'm going to do. Okay, just check it out. I mean, don't spend a lot of time on Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because you never know.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
evidently Kaylee must have told Maddie something that Maddie went and blabbed her mouth to Adam, and who knows, maybe Adam was connected.
Smart. I think Kaylee had street smarts too. I think Kaylee was
I think she did too.
I think Kaylee was very on it.
Yeah.
And her sister was like, I think that's what her sister was like basically trying to get across, is like Kaylee is a smart girl. Like she's not naive, and you could just see the way
that's right. And
police. I could see that from just that encounter, how she handled herself with the police.
Like, and that girl, Allie, and Todd both said.
Don't lump me into that.
Todd said he believes that it was a shut up murder, that Kaylee was the target, and that they were trying to shut her up. And then Allie asked, well, where she said, I'm not getting anything on the two survivors. And he said they were in a room together. That's what he said. Now, come on, I don't know if this guy was like bullshitting, or he did read up on the case and he lied and said he didn't, but I kind of believe he didn't. So it's just a lot of stuff that he was saying that kind of makes sense a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna look into it too. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it, but I'm gonna look into it and see if there's anything.
I'm gonna go to sleep to it. We'll see if I can dream about it. I get some good dreams. I get some good dreams from now and then.
Okay, Lana. All right, y'all take care.
Don't dive too deep tonight, okay? I want you to report back to me.
No, girl. Cause
I want a full report email.
Okay.
All right, you're the best.
Okie dokie.
All right, have a good
Louisiana loves you.
Aw, thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, hon. Well, I mean, I want someone to just come on here and read my cards. I want someone to get up here right now and just flip those cards for me, because I want to see.
I have a McRib.
I have a McRib.
Do they even still have those anymore?
Well, not here. He's stuck in Memphis.
Tell us when they're coming back.
Can you guys tell my husband's a Southerner? He's like, I want a McRib.
I liked her. Yeah. I could hear the Southern voice.
They don't read cards, Lana. Rats. Good. Can you find me someone that reads cards? Bring them on over.
My friend Trisha does. Tarot with Trisha.
Where's Amanda and Nanda?
Amanda was over. She was visiting us the other night over on the channel.
Amanda and Nanda, get over here. Start reading these cards, damn it. Yeah, I think Mic Dropping can read some cards. Where's she at? Start flipping this.
I haven't seen her in chat in a little bit.
Yeah, no, I do believe that people do have intuition. I do. I don't knock things. Like it is what it is.
Well, that's what I mean. Seriously, psychics sometimes their imaginations lend really good rabbit holes to go down, and they solve cases with it. Before.
Yeah,
there's reason they're on the call list at the police station.
All I know is that my horoscope today was fucking fire. I was like,
what did it say?
Just go out and take on the world.
Yeah.
You guys ever? I got Bella all the time. Like, she's like, "Oh my god, did you read your horoscope today?" I was like, "No, I never read it." I'm like, "I'm sure it'll fill me in." She's like, "Let me see what it says for you."
What did she say?
Oh hell, that I'm gonna be basically. There's something that I'm gonna start working with, and it's gonna be for like this total eclipse of the heart type of thing. Like it's just gonna be profound, and that something about don't be afraid to really say how you feel about something, because it's probably right about this whole like joining with something or someone for something. She read it. Yeah. She needs to read it. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing this crap. Sounds way better when someone reads it to you, but
that's a good one. That's a good one though.
My horoscope today. Let's see what it says. Horoscope. Do you guys do that? Do you like ask somebody when you go on a date, like, "Hey, what's your sign?" Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You guys were those type of people?
I can't.
I've never done that in my life.
Well, frankly, astrology says me and Crafton wouldn't be compatible, so I kind of think it's bullshit now. That
Oh my god! It says it. Listen to this. May 22nd, 2023, Pisces. If every day were like today, life would be heaven. That's how it opens up. This is potentially a wonderful time for you. Good. You may find the answers to problems that you have been bothering you for a few weeks now. Keep your eyes and ears open in all conversations. You could come across the peace you've been waiting for. Ooh. And I was like, "Where's about my sex life? Like that's like that's not what the about. Like where do you go for that stuff? What does it say about my sex life? Maybe later."
That's a different publication.
Oh, it's a different one.
Wait a minute. I almost had the same horoscope, but I'm a Sagittarius.
What does yours say?
You may. All right.
You says LOL.
Sagittarius
Oh my god, I
brings
know.
you in an
I don't do
oasis.
this stuff. This is
Some
like I
people
don't
you
even
met
ask
over the
them what their
past 2
horoscope
weeks
is
could be
over-
more interesting than you originally thought.
Oh, you're gonna have an interesting 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Great.
Take advantage of it, and yeah.
That's neat. Thanks for that, Crafton.
Oh
Sagittarius.
hell, my horoscope tomorrow sucks.
Oh, and then it makes it sucky the next day. They're like, today's. If it was like today, it's heaven, and then it's like, oh, tomorrow sucks.
We were
Like,
lying.
what app is this that it tells you about your horoscope tomorrow? Like that's get out
They
of
didn't
here.
even spell astrology right on the one for tomorrow.
Let's see.
They misspelled astrology on the one you're on.
Astro yogi, but as one word, it's astro yogi.
If it's misspelling astrology, honey, just get off that website, whatever it is. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you having me over, though. You have like the most interesting stuff. Like you guys have so many good ideas, things I didn't think of. I was eager to hear what you thought of today.
Oh
And
yeah, I
it's a
think
whole
it's,
different-
I don't think it's bad about what happened today. Okay, last thing here for my Pisces I found. Okay, in case you guys are wondering, here we bring you 4 zodiac signs that are sexually compatible in bed with Pisces. It's a Scorpio, a Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Aquarius.
Crafton.
Ba-boom.
So
that's with Pisces. That's
Sagittarius.
Lana's sign.
I thought it just meant in general.
There you go.
Okay.
No.
No.
Pisces in romantic partnerships. So if a Pisces with the Pisces, the best erotic activities for Pisces are highly emotional, sensual, and passionate, since they are willing to provide you with anything that you want on all fours. That's not what it says.
Oh, my total immaturity is going to come out.
This is what happens when I let people just come on and bring it. Then I'm like, you know what? Let me look at my sign here.
Let's just go down the rabbit hole. Let's just do it.
Oh gosh. All right, guys. You guys are great. On a good note here. Thank you for all the callers. You guys were awesome. Mods, love you guys. Members, all the new members, the super stickers, super chats. Thank you guys so much. Again, keep in your prayers for New Orleans lady's mom. She passed, so we're keeping New Orleans lady in our prayers. Thank you for Kim and Crafton for popping on here today. Appreciate that. I thought the callers were great today. You guys rock. Yeah, I really like the whole, you'd be running out of that place. Yeah, I wouldn't be calling people there. I'd be running out of there.
Yeah.
So, but again, thank you guys. Thank you, Kim, Crafton. Appreciate you guys. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
You look so fabulous today, by the way. I didn't tell you. You look really pretty today. Oh, go get it, girl.
I got home. She texted. I was like, hold on. I was going to set up my camera. So I'm like, yeah.
Crafton, go get it. Meow.
Meow.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Love you.
Again, thanks for Kim and Crafton. All of you guys rock. I think we did what? Did we do a 3-banger today? Woo! I think something like that. I don't know. But thank you guys. You guys rock. Thank you. And I'm gonna go listen to some Benny Siegel, Todd Siegel. Prayers, New Orleans lady. Love you, girl. Again, thank you. Talk to you guys soon.